So this year's Township CX Report is an interesting one in that we've found a number of things where township entrepreneurs, township businesses, as well as the audience in general is telling us. So when we launched this report in 2021, the country and the world had just come out of lockdowns. We had just come out of COVID. We were talking about things such as the new normal, which of course now feels old. So one of the things that was happening a lot in the township market at the time was that there was a lot of uncertainty. And a lot of this uncertainty was as a result of whether lockdowns would come and what business would look like, what the township market would look like, given all of these variables. So there was also a lack of freely available data around the township market, which we as marketers, as marketers at Roger Wilco and also the industry really needed. We still need it. So we created this with our partners, Survey 54. When we launched, one of the things that was evident was that there was this bleak outlook in the marketplace around what the future looked like, around what would happen next, around what this new normal that we're talking about would look like. And that was in 2021. In 2022, we found that there was the rise of the township brand, where when you walked around, call it 5 or so years ago, you would see that spaza shops, supermarkets, and all of these stores would be wrapped in big brand sort of branding. In 2022, when we're doing our research and walking around, we realized that there was this growth of the township brand. There was this emergence of pride within the brands that were not just in our townships, but also in South Africa as a whole. South African fashion was one of those things that was really sought after by the township market. This year, the overarching theme that we are finding is this made in the township and made in South Africa kind of pride within our audience. And you'll see this as we unpack the findings. You'll see this as our panel also takes us through some of the thinking as well. So this is what the report this year has. This is just a quick look at what's inside the report. So it's made up of 6 chapters, and these chapters cover everything from people's attitudes towards brands, savings, as well as shopping. So in a nutshell, the first chapter, or one of the chapters, is a chapter around people working online. So in 2021, we asked people if they had made purchases online, and 70% of them told us they had. This year, we flipped that question around a little bit to find out if people are working online, hustling online, making a living and doing things. And of course, this year, 60% of our respondents tell us that either they or someone they know has started working online, they've started selling products online, and they've started doing things online to support themselves. And when we look deeper at the data, 70% of the self-employed and 67% of students are telling us that they've started doing this. We are also realizing that among people who are unemployed, 57% of them are telling us that they work online and that someone they know has also started working online. Chapter 2 is a chapter around people's spending habits within the township economy. And one of the things that we asked here is where people are shopping, what they are buying, and some of the things that resonate with them in terms of what they are buying. And once again, people are telling us that 25% of the respondents say they spend between 25 and 50% of their income within the township. 25% of respondents say they spend more than 50% of their earnings within the township environment. So we're seeing that people are spending within the township, they're spending at spazas, they're spending at the local supermarkets, and that there's this circulation of money within this market. And this is one of those chapters that we'll unpack a little bit with our panel. And then the third chapter is a chapter around savings and stokvels. So here we asked people. So last year we asked people if they belonged in stokvels, and they told us they had, and they gave us some amounts that they were likely to save with a stokvel or put away with a stokvel. So this year we delved a little bit deeper into the ages and how people use stokvels. One of the things that we are finding as a sort of big insight, or at least big finding in terms of this year, is that people who are between the ages of 18 to 24 are the fastest growing segments who are adopting stokvels. And as stokvels become younger and younger, they also become more tech savvy. So they use platforms like Stockfeller to manage their finances, the finances of the stokvel in the main, and to interact and engage as a stokvel. This chapter is one that we'll unpack in another webinar. We won't get into it much today. And then, of course, there is the chapter around people telling us that they are looking more for value rather than prioritizing brands. And this could be as a result of a number of things. It could be because of employment or unemployment issues. It could be because of a tough economy. It could be, by and large, the trust that they have with either the sponsor shop owner, the supermarket owner, and people within that space. So 22% of respondents said they've bought clothes, furniture, and paid for services that are offered within the township. And 45% said that they would buy a product that is made in the township. So this is where we are seeing the growth of this made in the township or made in my community kind of insight. And then the next chapter looks at delivery services. So one of the things that was happening a lot during lockdown was that there was news coverage around delivery services emerging from townships that had emerged just before lockdown. But during lockdown, it looks as though they began to fly because they were they were starting to, the market was responding well to them, and people were ordering products and services using local township-based or township-grown delivery services. And this is another one that we'll unpack with our panel today. One of the ones that has seen massive adoption and massive media coverage is a platform like Delivery Speed, which is based in Namaskral. We then look at fashion as well, the adoption of the local fashion brand and how much people love these brands. Last year, people told us, so last year we asked a question around fashion where we asked people, are you likely to buy a local fashion brand if this was available for you to purchase on a store using your store account? And just over 70% of our respondents last year told us that they would. So this year, once again, this is one of those questions that we flipped around, and we asked people, did you buy any of these local fashion brands? And people are telling us that they have. In fact, 7% of our respondents are telling us that they bought a Batu branded item. 4% are telling us that they bought an Amakibki branded item. Another 4% are telling us that they bought drip in the past year. So, I mean, some people have spent upwards of 3,000 rands on local fashion.